Alright, hey guys, this is Walp from Gamers Class. Today I'm doing another replay analysis for one of our members. Before I get into this replay, just a little bit about myself. The primary role I play is offlane, and the peak MMR I've achieved is 8,900. Right, so today we're going to be taking a look at a Marzus gameplay. He's currently 1,360 MMR, and he's playing offlane in this game. He didn't leave any notes, so I'll just be doing an entire replay analysis. Alright, let's get straight into it.
If you like this kind of content, go to gamersguys.com. For just $10 a month, get your replays analyzed, watch masterclasses with pro players, join weekly coaching sessions, win prizes, and more with our Supreme Dota 2 membership.
Alright, so this game, you should be laning with, it's probably Tiny Maz, right? Your lane's okay. It's not super strong, not super weak either. You can always do, if the lane is too hard, you can always just do, creep cutting shenanigans. I'll get more into that as we go on, but you do seem to be laning versus, there's some interesting Euros, but it's probably going to be like Nyx plus Enchantress, right? Maybe Drow Ench, but seems like Drow is probably middle, right? So it's probably going to be like Nyx, Enchantress, which is an interesting lane. If I were you in this lane, I would most definitely not think of just fighting them straight up. I think fighting them straight up is a horrible idea because Lifestealer's sustain is absolutely crazy, and then Enchantress obviously has the heal, and maybe you can even get a big creep too, right? So it's pretty much suicide to just fight them straight up. So what I always ask myself, even before, I think it's a very good habit to, even before you start a lane, right, before the lane even starts, is to ask yourself the question, how do you get the most out of the lane, right? In this scenario, what I would do is I would just tell my Tiny. So first wave, I would lane normally, just Choya, get as many losses as I can. And I would tell my Tiny to go here and pull the secondary wave coming in from here. You can pull the wave when it's here-ish, and then Tiny can just run and you can connect it in front of your tower, or you can connect it behind the tower, because you just don't want to be stranded over here being hit by Enchantress for free and then Nyx for free, right? It seems like Weaver is top, Enchantress is top. Where the hell is the Nyx? Right, interesting. Yeah, I'm very confused. I guess we'll see what lanes are the lanes are soon. Regardless, if it's gonna be Weaver Enchantress, I would still stick with what I said. Rather pull the lane, because this is gonna be a lot of right click damage. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the Bulwark. Maybe you're thinking that it'll help you sustain a lot of damage versus the both of these range heroes, but you generally want one of these two spells to help you last it and to do some damage to them, right? I think it's pretty good that you're going Ring of Protection. I definitely wouldn't suggest that you rush his Soaring, because in this lane, what you need is sustain. You need some kind of health regen, because... Just one sec. Alright, sorry about that, my voice died. Anyways, I was talking about you going, it's seeming to be going or rushing a Soaring, right? I think that's quite a large mistake. Quite simply, in this lane you're probably going to be hit a lot, right? And what does Soaring actually grant you? It just gives you mana, right? But it takes away your health at the same time, and I really feel like in this lane you need some sort of sustain. Maybe just I think the Ring of Protection is fine, but maybe after that you just finish your Bracer, and then maybe you go into Phase Boots, you get the Chainmail, right? That way you'll have an extra 4 armor plus the 2, so you'll have 8, and then maybe as the lane goes on you can send in some more regen, right? First wave should be okay for you. This actually makes you very beefy. I'm not sure why Enchantress isn't here hitting you. I guess Tiny is doing a decent job at zoning him, but the problem is as soon as Enchantress gets a creep, which he should go for right now, because you know you can take over a creep with Enchant, then depending on the creep, your life should be pretty hard after that. This is where you would love to have one of your, you know, your spears or your God's Rebuke to secure those CS. Right, so another thing, when you see the lane shoving like this, you know, it's very obvious that the lane is going to push into the tower here, right? Because there are 3 creeps against 1. You should either tell your Tiny to go pull, or you yourself should pull here. It's a good way to get the lane to come down, you know, the next wave to connect here. And it's also a decent way to get extra experience and gold on this side for whomever is going to stay here. Maybe the Tiny, and then you know, pull the wave here. But instead, if you don't pull, you know, they gotta pull off, and now Weaver gets most of the CS uncontested. But this isn't the end of the world for you, because now, basically at the end of the day, the same thing will happen. You'll be able to connect the wave in front of your tower. But there is one little thing you need to watch out for when doing this. You'll see now that they basically have almost got level 3 right, and both of you are at level 1. You're gonna have level 2 soon, but they'll have their level 3 before you for sure, right? And at that point, they can probably try to fight you, because there's gonna come quite a big creep wave now. This wave and the next one will come in soon, right? It's very important here. This is actually a decent spot to be in, but you need to make sure they don't get the pull off now. You need to work on your last hitting. You can't like be missing these free CS too. Last hitting with Mars is pretty easy. You have like 80 damage, right? Just be a bit more patient, that's it. Anyways, back to my point. When the lane's in such a good spot, all you have to do is you have to just tell your forward, this is good. He should just block the pull, and then you're pretty happy. You should be very happy being in a one-on-one versus Weaver, because your base damage is higher than his, right? So you should have no problem last hitting. Here is another scenario where, you know, you see the lane shoving again, and you know what the conclusion is going to be, right? So they're doing 2 things right now. 1, Enchantress is pulling, because Tiny got zoned right, and 2, this lane is going to shove in under his tower. So Weaver is going to get all of this, and he's going to get all of this under his tower if a pull doesn't take place here. And it's very easy for Tiny to pull, right? He can just hit, and if he can't even make the pull, he can just use his toss, right? So, but it's very important that you get off the pull here. Right, you're sending your Soaring. I like the stick. The stick is decent. I mean, it's not like the most valuable item in this lane, but it's not that bad either. Stick is always just a valuable item in the game regardless. Right, so here you have like 2 options again. I would very much advocate for the call. I hate that this is even happening, that they have such a big wave under the tower, because Weaver should be able to get most of this. Because, you know, you can help himself last hit of Sakuchi and the Geminate's attack. But what I would do here is, for you, I would run under the tower with the creeps and just try to disrupt his CS a little bit. It is a bit scary, but I don't think you'll die, because you're actually quite tanky at this point. And worst case scenario, you can just TP out. A very good item in this lane would obviously be Raindrop. Raindrop's very good against Weaver because you block all the damage from Sakuchi, plus it gives you some nice mana regen. And he also has no way to easily break the Raindrops, right? Raindrop as an item, I pretty much always build it if I feel like my hero benefits from the mana regen, and also when I feel that they don't have an easy way to consume the charges on Raindrop, right? But you see what's happening here? This is what should have happened at the start. Enchantress should have taken this creep at the very start and zoned you too, but he decided to, you know, try to pull. And as a result, Weaver's CS is kind of struggling a bit. Oh wow, he could have actually survived if he just ran. But Tiny may end up dying here. Oh, he's getting some jukes off. Maybe not. I think he's dead. That's okay though. You're getting a lot of damage onto Weaver. He's probably gonna end up surviving here. This is very good for your lane, because now Weaver has to leave. Whenever you can accomplish this to get their carry very low, and they're forced to go back to base, it's like a win for you. This lane's going very well. I have no idea why they decided to set up their lanes like this. It's very strange. But yeah, such is life. Now you pretty much just want to wait for your level 6. At that point you can kill anyone. Yeah, you can go back and see how many times you actually used your Soul Ring. I'm guessing it's not many. It would have been much better if you just had finished your Bracer first, before the Soul Ring, and then also get yourself a raindrop. Your hero would very much benefit from the mana regen. I think through the regen itself from raindrop, you would probably be getting, or have gotten more mana from it than all your usages such far of the Soul Ring. So the Soul Ring has basically just been like 2 armor and 6 strength in this lane. I pretty much only go Soul Ring when it's a bit later into the lane, or I feel like my lane is completely free and I can just spam spells out. That's when I go Soul Ring. But if I feel like I'm being contested a lot and I need regen, like health, then I never go Soul Ring. I don't think it's worth it. But yeah, you're pretty happy just chilling in your lane for now. Whenever you're in a situation like this, where you're afraid of being hit, right? This is applicable to almost all scenarios of Dota, at least in laning phases. What you should do here is you should just... I think it's a bug that it says Akuchi. He's not actually invis. But anyways, like you're afraid to run up to these creeps and just last it, right? Because they'll probably hit you. What you can do is you can just go close to these creeps. You should go here. And then you should right click the Weaver and you should run away, right? That's gonna mean that these creeps will follow you. So you don't have to like, you know, use your spells to last it. The creeps will follow you and that way you can CS down here instead of up here. You know, you can CS in a bit, by CS I mean kill the creeps in a more safer area, right? They're starting to harass you now, but it doesn't really matter that much because the lane is pushing in. So you're quite happy here. Yeah, you probably should have sent out the regen a bit earlier, but it's fine. You're not really being punished for this. Now you should ping this Tiny, tell him you got level 6, and you guys should try to get a kill. I'm pretty sure Weaver dies if you just land your combo, and then Tiny uses his spells. It's a lot of burst. Yeah, I'm pretty sure if he just gets arena'd, speared, he dies. Oh. You want to use your spear immediately to get the damage off on the, you know, the arena. You want to throw him into the arena because it does a lot of damage. Yeah, this was unfortunate. I think you just hesitated a bit, and that's the only reason that went not so well. Oh, wow. I'm surprised we've actually stayed there. Could have just ran. Interesting. I definitely suggest you finish your boots before going straight into the blink. The boots just gives you a lot more mobility and also killing potential, right? Because you're faster to get into different positions, right? It's very good that this top tower is gonna drop. Sven made a very good play here, connecting to top. Without him, he probably wouldn't be able to take this tower. But yeah, I would suggest you finish your phase boots, and then you go for the blink. The phase just gives you so much more killing potential, and also it gives you a lot more mobility so you can move around the map. Like, it gives you an extra, what? 45 movement speed, plus you can use it every now and again, so it's just a lot more mobility. At this point, if I were you, like, after I've taken this top tower, and I'm in a position where I feel like I can impact the map if I rotate, like, you're a Mars, right? As long as you pop your arena and your spear on anyone, you'll do a lot of damage, right? So that's why I'm saying I think you can have an impact on the other lanes as well. So here, I don't mind that you're shoving this lane, like getting the lane here, because someone's gonna have to farm this, and then after that you can just run middle. Another thing I absolutely love to do is, after I've taken this top tower, you should tell either your pos 4 or you yourself should send yourself a ward, and you should plant it deeper into the jungle, maybe here or here, or here, just to grant yourself information, because you're going to be playing this top side the whole time, and maybe you can punish them. Yeah, it would be a very nice play if you had just over here, instead of like just farming the jungle, you send your phase boots, you send your smoke, and then you just do this. You go behind middle. If you connect to Sven, he can maybe have his ulti, his stun, and it's probably going to end up being a kill on Drow. And that's not the most important part. It's also the fact that you can maybe get the top tower, the mid tower if you kill the Drow, which is very important. My point is you can just accomplish so much more than just, sitting top at this point and farming. Even if you're trying to finish your blink, right? You can get this gold in other ways by maybe getting kills, or, you just put a bit more pressure on them by ganking middle instead. Alright, now your blink's finally coming and you're bringing a smoke. It's pretty decent. You should just smoke yourself. You can maybe even go with Tiny. Like, this is what you really do not want to do. If they have a ward on the other side, they actually see you right now. So you have just made it obvious that you're hovering around middle, and also that if they click on you, they'll see that you have a blink, right? Whenever you get this blink, especially at an early timing, you want it to come as a surprise to the enemy team. This should basically just mean that you can get a free kill anywhere. Because if you're smoked and you blink from here to here, and there's a Drow, and you drop your arena and your spear, Drow should just die. Like, this is a free kill, right? It's just literally blink, ulti, spear, and he's dead. Probably didn't even need to ulti, but it doesn't matter. It's definitely worth it. And now you can put pressure on the mid tower. You see all this farm top, but if I'm you, I'd rather give this to the Tiny. Just look how close he is to his blink dagger, and also think to yourself what impact he will have when he gets his blink, right? It's quite a lot of impact, because they have really squishy heroes, the Drow, the Weaver, the Enchantress, so his combo will kill pretty much anything. So here I would prefer you just chilling at the Sven, putting some pressure on this tower, and then Tiny goes to farm top. I like that you guys are warding here. This is what I suggested. Probably should be a bit earlier, and I don't love this one here. I prefer the one over here, or this one here, this one here. Just an area that's less likely to get the ward. Even this one here is fine, because they love planting their sentry here, and it covers in a big ass circle. But this is unacceptable. Like, all of this farm going to waste. This is like, it's like 300 to 400 gold, right? Which is really a lot. It's basically Tiny's blink dagger. You should just ping him to go here at this point. Or if he's not going to take it, it should just be Juggernaut TPing top. But someone should absolutely get this. Like, all of that just got wasted. And then the next wave will get wasted too. This is a big kill though. Oh, that was very unfortunate. Still gonna die though, but that was close to being bit unlucky. A very big kill. You also forced Lifestealer to come here. The only mistake at this point is basically just this top farm going to waste. Even Lion could go there. It's not like Jug needs help. Someone should just go top and farm that. Right, you're finally sending out your boots. You should probably have had this a bit earlier. But I want you to really go back and look at how many times you have made use of the soaring. I think you've sent out like 4 to 6 clarities, right? Because you were out of mana. Because you maybe feel like you just can't use the soaring because you can't sustain the HP, right? Which I think it's true. So instead of even getting the soaring, I think it's been quite a waste, right? It's like 700 and something gold just wasted. You can instead just go like range up and boots and just finish your phase boots. The mobility granted from phase boots can do so many things for you as a hero. So I really don't think you should just skip your boots until, you know, like 15 minutes. At the very least, you should get brown boots before getting blink. And here, you don't have to like wait to last it like this, because you want someone to react and defend this tower, because Tiny's probably going to TP, and if someone comes, you can just arena them, right? And the biggest thing you should be thinking about right now is taking this middle tower. Because in reality, if you take this middle tower, it kind of makes the map smaller for them, right? Think to yourself, after you've taken top tower, no one's been here, right? And also it's easier to enter their jungle from this area. And because they don't have like an area to TP to, right? They're kind of stranded. If anyone goes here, they can't get help from anywhere because there's no place to TP to, right? So they're kind of alone. That's why they don't want to play there. The same thing happens for the mid tower. After you've taken this mid tower, you pretty much gain access to their jungle in an easier manner. And this is a good kill. You can also get the tower. Anyways, back to my point of taking this tower. Their heroes are not going to really want to, you know, pass the jungle or pass this area because, again, they can't really get help from their allies, which is a big part of Dota, right? If you can't get help from your allies, then you'll probably end up dying. Right, let's talk about items now. So you have your blink, you have your soaring. You should probably finish your phase boots, right? You should probably grab a neutral item too. I mean, the ironwood branch is, or ironwood tree is fine. But beyond that, you should ask yourself, what's the next item you want to be going, right? This game, I wouldn't actually hate a Vlad's because it benefits your Jug and your Sven like a lot. Plus, they have a lot of physical damage, right? Like a lot. So the armor bonus from Vlad's helps a decent amount, you know. Oh yeah, it doesn't give armor. Oh yeah, it doesn't give armor anymore. I'm lying, sorry. But still, the lifesteal and the damage does still benefit them. I love where you guys are playing. This is perfect. You'll see in a lot of lower ranked games, especially in cases like this, someone's gonna want to TP bottom because they see this tower being pushed, right? They maybe want to defend it, but the correct thing to do here is just to drop this tower. Unless you're like very far ahead and you feel super confident to fight them and you want to take a fight, then it's like okay to TP bottom, but then your team needs to be on the same page and everyone needs to be able to rotate, you know, and take this tower, so then you can also take their tier 1 after taking the fight bottom. But I prefer doing this. Your team playing this area, but someone should be pushing in top. Honestly, it should just be Juggernauts at this point, pushing in top, because it's very safe, and you need to create pressure here so their heroes react. But this TP here, you know, it's like this tower is pretty much gone already. This is quite late, and your entire team is around middle. Firstly, you need to check who has TPs so who can connect to you bottom. And if you do a quick check on your team, it's like only Lion, Sven, and the Juggernaut that can TP, right? But the question should be, do you want your team to TP right now? If they TP all bottom, you're basically forfeiting this part of the map for at least 2 to 3 minutes, so maybe they can get D wards going. Oh, that was a nice arena. Sven is gonna probably end up dying here. So yeah, this fight ended up being pretty good actually. It wasn't too bad, right? Sven did die, which was very unfortunate because he was like, oh wow, Sven's actually not that far. I thought he would have a bit more farm. But yeah, this ended up being pretty good, especially if you can kill the Nyx. There is an Omni, so it's gonna be pretty close. Let's see. Yeah, he should be dead. Alright, this was pretty good. This was like the thing that you could do and not into the tower. But you need to remember, this also creates space for the Drow and the Weaven, alright? Because obviously they know your entire team TV'd bottom, so they can put pressure on both middle, and one of them can go top and push this out freely without being afraid of any repercussions, you know? Ench doesn't seem very happy. But yeah, sure, you get the tower. Now, you probably feel that your team is quite far ahead at this point, which is correct. You're not very far ahead, but their heroes kind of just want to farm. Like Drow just wants to farm. He's kind of super weak at this point. Same goes for Weaver, right? Like he's building this Linken's build, so he's also quite weak at this point. The only hero who's really quite scary is like Lifestealer. He actually hits quite hard with his Desolator. But anyways, you have to ask yourself the question, where is the next area you want to play, right? You've taken this bot tower, mid tower, top tower. It's like, what objective do you want to go for next? It should the answer should never just be to only farm, right? To just farm and wait for your next item before you do anything. It should always be, you should always be working towards your next objective. Like for instance, after you taking this tower, I wouldn't have minded if your team did like a quick smoke. You maybe leave Juggernaut here because he can't really die, right? He can always just spend TP. Okay, his TP is on cooldown, but generally, okay, he can just run back and go hit the jungle camp. Anyways, here, you should ask yourself where you want to play next. It should either be like their triangle. Their triangle is generally rather hard to play, play in, because it's easier for them to defend it, because there are all these little, high ground areas you have to run up to. They have these towers that are very close they can TP to, so it's easy for them to get reinforcements here, whereas for you guys it's quite hard, right? You have to run all the way here. But their jungle is a bit easier because you already have vision here, plus it's easier for you to shove these two waves and force someone to react to here, and then you can, well, Drow actually died to a camp, lol. When you're doing this, you just need to make sure your team is a little bit closer, especially the Sven. But yeah, he's got a DD, so whoever you see, you can pretty much just go on now. Nyx is a very good target if you can stun him before he gets off his rage, but if he gets off the rage, your team will probably be in some trouble. This is a very, very good ward. I like this a lot. But they will get the D ward. Yeah. There you pretty much just had to use the spear mid-air, so Sand King wouldn't get off the stun. This is what I was talking about though. It's kind of hard to, do this initiation onto their high ground. But if you were to try do it here, I'm quite certain they would just give it to you. And also this top lane needs to not be pushed in like this. Jug should be like pushing in top here. You guys should be around middle pushing this in. And then you should also have control of their jungle with vision. Like this should not be happening, Your team trying to like run up to their high ground. You're basically just giving them an opportunity to punish you, If you're gonna be trying to do this where you run up their high ground, you need to have numbers. Basically your entire team needs to be there. Otherwise, they'll punish you very easily. But yeah, it seems like you're kind of trying to apply pressure by playing around middle and, you know, trying to keep them here, which is okay. But I feel like you're trying to put pressure in the incorrect area. As I've already said, it's like it's possible to do this, but in a ranked game, it's kind of hard because your team is generally just gonna want to farm and not help you out with taking over this area. So generally, this is like just the easier area, you know, taking over their jungle. This is pretty good. You just need to have some vision on making sure they don't have a ward here. Oh, this is very deep. This may go pretty bad for your team. Right, Sven actually survived. But yeah, you guys have 5 heroes, they have 3, so you can imagine why it went well. Jug doesn't like his team, he doesn't want to heal anyone.
Radiant's top tower has fallen.
I like that you're warding. That's just definitely something you should do as an offlaner if your team doesn't do it, but I mean, this ward is fine, but this one is a bit of an overkill. You know, it's like you already have vision in this area now. Why do you want to place this ward too? And I feel like there's a pretty high chance that it gets dewarded as well. If you want more vision in their jungle, I wouldn't actually mind if you place a cheeky one like behind their tower, or maybe this one here, you know, giving you more vision of the outpost plus this area. But this ward here, only extra information it grants you is like this little area here and this area here. Other than that, it gives like nothing, you know? So it's just kind of wasting the resource. You have to be very careful of just running into here now because your team isn't anywhere close, right? Yeah. I mean, this wasn't bad actually. You forced like 3 to 4 heroes to come here, and now you're running away. But this is quite greedy because you know that they're in the vicinity, right? At the very least, so they may try to go for you here. You got pretty lucky there. If Jar ran in there with his invis, I think he would get you anyways. But yeah, this was basically on you, these two deaths, because Tiny tried to help you, you know? But as I said, you did a good job forcing them to come here, but then you pretty much just overstayed your welcome. As soon as you knew that they were here in the general vicinity, you should just run here. You know, run away from top lane, go to your team. If you want to fight them, make sure you have 5 heroes. But you don't have Omni Slash, so taking this fight isn't that easy. I'll forward until you're back again. Well, I mean, the only reason this fight is even going slightly bad is because... Okay, so the only reason this fight is even going remotely bad, right, is because your team decided to start this fight 3v5 because you were still dead, right? Tiny was still dead. You know, it's like, I mean, this happens in ranked very often where your team will fight before everyone's ready to fight, you know. And now this game is just a lot harder than it should be. They've basically made a full comeback. Right, let's watch your next move. You should probably have some idea that they're attempting to do rush here, because no one's showing middle, only drow. And you see a courier flying in over here, so it's quite obvious that they're attempting to do rush. I do think your team is still strong enough to fight them for sure. Your only problem is this lifestealer. He's the one doing most of the damage. Tanking does a decent amount, but Weaver is still quite a low amount. He got his Deso now, so he does a bit more, but Drow also does quite little damage. And Ench isn't much to talk about either. Lifesteal is like the biggest issue by far. Yeah. What you want to do in a scenario like this where you don't know where anyone is and your team pretty much just want to farm and you feel like you're behind because you know you just lost a big fight, they got the ages, a lot of reasons, right? This is good, just getting some defensive vision and then fighting where, or attempting to fight where your team has some clear advantages, right? For instance, on this high ground, close to your towers, you know, where everyone can quickly connect. This may end up being a good fight. Sven should be able to clean up a little bit at the very least. He has the ages. Never mind, it's another bad fight. Lifesteal is just doing too much damage at this point. You take very little damage from all of their cores, basically. I do like that you're going bait mill, actually. I wouldn't have minded, like, as I've already said, the Vlads. I think the Vlads would have been good. And I also think a Halberd would be very good here. And then obviously there's the option of going BKB.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
And then there's also like the option of just going straight Assault Keras, you know? Because your team basically just needs armor, that's all they need. They have like this double Deso, Drow has a full Crystallis, you know? They have all this physical damage. So your team just needs some way to soak physical damage. Yeah, they siege high ground, it's very fast one.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen. Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Nike should end up surviving here, or maybe he dies. He just needed Weaver to be his taxi, and then he was fine, but Weaver abandoned him. We can already see why this is another good fight for your team, right? It's basically just they're fighting 3v. I feel like that's the story of this game. Every time one team has 3 heroes, you know, they decide to take a fight, and then they get punished. It's happened like 3 to 4 times now. It's like the seesaw, you know, which goes up and down, up and down. Here, I wouldn't mind if you just tell your team to go smoke. I don't think you just want to farm. Like, they're getting their items, but I mean, I guess Sven is pretty close to his BKB. Jug is still a ways off from his Abyssal, so you're not going to want to wait for that. Yeah, the only item that you're waiting for is probably like Sven's BKB, and then you're ready to go. And you guys are going before that. Who drew that line? Was that you? It's Tiny that's smoking, but you're drawing the line. I like that you're trying to be aggressive, but so there are a few things about the smoke, okay? Number one, when you're smoking, you need to have a clear objective in mind, what it is you aim to do, okay? Number two, you need to make sure your lanes are shoved in, like pushed in, because otherwise it's a bit too obvious. Like in this scenario, someone should have pushed in this wave and the one incoming. And then it would make it less obvious that you guys are attempting to smoke. The mid lane is fine, the bot lane is fine, right? It's just this lane is a bit of an issue, this top lane. And then obviously the last thing is you need to have all your heroes there, right? Like Lion should be here. And then, okay, that was not the last thing. The absolute last thing is you need to make sure before you smoke that everyone is on the same page. Like everyone has their items. Like this is a good scenario where, or a good example where you can see Sven is like very close to his BKB, right? Like 40 gold. If you just wait for him for one creep, wait like another 20 seconds, this fight can go a bit differently. But now you guys are attempting to take this fight in a basically 3v5 manner, right? I mean, Ench is definitely probably gonna end up dying, but Sven is not here, and Lion is not. Lion should definitely be there, but Sven has a decent excuse because he wants to finish his BKB, you know? You guys got pretty lucky here though, because they were only 3 heroes, right? You do see lifesteal at bottom, so it's not all luck, but you didn't know where Weaver was. If Weaver was closer, I think this fight could have gone pretty bad, because both Sven and Lion were not there. My point here is just, the smoke can be so much cleaner if you had just done a few things, right? The main thing is just make sure more people are in the smoke. Don't like force a fight in a 3v5 manner. Or potential 3v5 manner, right? It's just not a good idea. There are times where you don't have to smoke as 5, you know, if you're baiting someone or whatever it may be. But that was definitely not it. Wow, he's getting no evasion hits. Feels bad, man. He's gonna end up surviving, though. Sven is probably gonna die here. Yeah. Yeah, it seems like you're wondering what to build next. I mean, it should just be like BKB or AC, I think. The arena is so good versus these range heroes, wow. That was a lot of damage, what the hell. But yeah. Again, they're basically losing this fight because they're, you know, just not 5 again. I'm saying this a lot, but it's pretty much just the case, right?
Dire's bottom Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
Yeah, you guys can definitely set up for a rush here, but they are 5 alive again. And it's not like your team is a lot stronger than theirs. You just need to make sure your arena encompasses your team so that it blocks their damage. Like, arena is so good versus both Weaver and Drow, and Enchantress, because they can't hit into or past the walls, right? So it seems like you're going either AC or Solar Crest. I hope it's AC. It's not the best. I mean, not Solar Crest, sorry, Lotus Orb. It's not the best Lotus Orb game. Before your team does this, you know, it's very important that your team has some sentries down here. This is one important one, and this one here, to cover this ward here and this ward here, you know. Because otherwise, if they just see you guys on this high ground, it's already such a bad way to start the fight. Like, information in Dota is so important. Like, if you have vision of them, the fight just becomes so much easier. Why were you so late to this fight? You decided to go back to base. You probably don't need to go back here. You have the salve, right? You have the soaring for mana. This is quite costly that you're so late, but let's see how this fight goes. A very good arena. You trapped Weaver and you'll see Drow can't even hit. Will lifesteal a cleanup? That's the question. He does a crazy amount of damage. He may end up dying here though. Yeah. He is dead. Took a while, but he got there eventually. See, that's where Halberd is so nice. If you can just pop it on lifestealer. But yeah. Oh, that was very close. Right now you know Weaver died back, so yeah, getting the rush is pretty free at this point. And once you get the rush, you can pretty much just run it down. because it'll be a 4v5 fight. Right, you decided to go AC. Pretty glad about that. It's very good this game. I think your item choices have been pretty good this game. I think the soaring was like the only... I mean, in the mid, or like post-laning phase of mid-game, the soaring is very nice. But at the very least, in the laning phase, it felt like the soaring was kind of bad. And I think that your mana problems will be fine if you just have a magic wand and you have raindrops. This should be a good fight. I mean, Weaver shouldn't be anywhere close. And Sanking keeps on getting his ulti cancelled. Yeah, I believe that is the game. Weaver is just sniping this poor lion, feels bad, man. Yeah, when they're hitting you, just turn to your front and you'll dodge a roll. Well, not dodge a roll, but I mean you'll reduce like most of the damage. Because if you get hit from the back, you take like all the damage, right? But from the front, you take like 30%. This doesn't matter too much though. I'll just forward until you're back. Your team's pretty far ahead right now. And as long as you get a decent arena off, I don't think your team will lose the fight. Because you pretty much make both the Drow and the Weaver useless. Yeah, that's the game. So... yeah, a few things you have to watch out for is like, as I've already spoken about, the item choices that you went for. Also, I think it's best that you finish your phase boots before going blank. And then the other thing would just be like knowing where to pressure as an offlaner and where you want vision for sure. I think those are all very important points that you need to focus on. But the point of where you want to pressure in ranked games is super important, because it seems, I mean, especially in low ranked games, your teammates won't really be that reliable. So you want to be able to rely on yourself to, you know, kind of guide them through the game. And you did a decent job this game. Like, the rotation from Sven to top to take the top tower was good. And then you stayed top a bit too long, in my opinion. You should have gone middle earlier. You don't even need a blink for it. You can just have like phase boots and a smoke, you know, rotate from behind, get your arena ulti, your arena down, your spear down, and Drow's like that, right? And then you can maybe take the middle tower. The way you exert pressure in Dota isn't always to just kill them. It's many times just to take the next objective. It can be a tower, it can be a rush, it can just be an area, right? Like taking over an area, making sure that they can't get in. That's also an objective. So always think to yourself what the next objective should be. And don't like bite off more than you can chew. Like I try to avoid trying to take over this triangle area in most of my games, unless I feel like we're so far ahead that there's no way they can punish us. Because the triangle area is just a lot harder to contest than it is for their jungle, you know. Anyways, that's gonna be it for this replay analysis. I hope it helps you, and thank you for watching.